Throughout history, male homosexuality has been viewed through various lenses, from acceptance in ancient societies to severe condemnation in more recent times. The terms used to describe homosexual men have ranged from Ganymedes, the beautiful Trojan youth loved by Zeus, to derogatory labels like catamites and sodomites. While some of these terms have been reclaimed by the LGBTQ+ community, they reflect a long-standing history of negativity towards men who love other men. Relationships between older men and younger youths were common and accepted, with no strict division between heterosexual and homosexual behaviors. Men could marry women and still engage in same-sex relationships without societal repercussions. This fluidity is evident in ancient art and literature, showcasing intimate bonds and sexual encounters between men. However, attitudes shifted dramatically during the medieval period. Homosexual acts were met with brutal punishments. Flogging, hanging, and burning became common responses to those found guilty of same-sex relationships. The narrative transformed from acceptance to hostility, as society increasingly viewed homosexuality as a crime against nature. The 19th century marked a pivotal moment with the emergence of the term homosexual coined by Carl Maria Kirkbeny in 1869. This period sparked debates among historians and sociologists about whether the concept of a homosexual existed prior to this term. While the label was new, evidence shows that men had engaged in same-sex relationships throughout history, forming identities and subcultures long before the modern era. Before the modern understanding of sexual orientation, people categorized themselves differently. They did not identify as heterosexual, bisexual, or homosexual, but rather as those who married and those who engaged in deviant acts. The distinction was often made between active and passive roles in sexual encounters. The passive partner, often viewed with disdain, was seen as less manly, while the active partner maintained a more acceptable status. In ancient Greece, relationships between older men and younger boys, known as erais and eromenos, were seen as educational and honorable. The older man would mentor the youth, often wooing him with gifts. These relationships were not merely sexual. They were also social and educational, reinforcing the bond between the two. However, as the youth matured, he was expected to marry and take on a more traditional role in society. The Roman Empire had its own complex views on male sexuality. Men could engage in sexual acts with other men as long as they maintained the dominant role. The stigma rose when a man allowed himself to be penetrated, which was seen as a loss of masculinity. Notable figures like Emperor Nero faced criticism for their sexual exploits, particularly those involving freeborn youths. Today, while significant progress has been made in recognizing and accepting male homosexuality, challenges remain. In many parts of the world, including some Eastern countries, homosexual relationships are still punishable by death. In the West, despite a growing acceptance, remnants of historical stigma linger, often rooted in cultural and religious beliefs. The journey of male homosexuality reflects a complex interplay of societal values, cultural norms, and individual experiences.